I was asked to be on this video, and I agreed to do so, for several reasons. I want to talk about a teaching philosophy, and we should share our ideas with each other as faculty. Anything to do with teaching should be shared. Also, I can share this video with future students, for they can understand the teaching philosophy I use in the classroom. Basically, it's the inquiry process, where if I'm teaching something, I'm asking questions to the students, getting them all involved in a conversation. It moves from one mind, like the lecture format, to many minds, 20 working together, discussing a topic.
Hi, my name is Sulaine Barrett. I'm a student here at Baldwin Wallace, and we're making this video to show students' reactions to inquiry-based teaching.
I benefited from the class discussions because they appealed to everyone's different learning styles. It didn't only just focus on somebody who was a kinesthetic learner or an auditory learner. It kind of zoned in on everyone so everyone could bring out their own strengths in the class.
The main benefit is being able to relate to one another and also just share your new perspectives and ideas with everybody around you.
I think a huge benefit of students asking questions is you really get to know each other. Personally, for this class, I actually know people's names. You don't just show up at 8 a.m. and drudge through a lecture. You actually get to know people.
I think the benefit for students asking each other questions is that it allows for a lot of student interaction between each other, and they're able to learn off of each other from what each other's inputs are on the topic.
I think students asking questions creates a warm and open classroom environment where the students feel comfortable talking to each other and learning from one another.
I think the main benefit of students asking each other questions is that they get to hear their peers' opinions about things, and they also get to ask questions that they're curious about too.
Another way that we approach this inquiry process is to get students involved in leading discussions. Basically, they share a little content out of the chapter and then have a question. Share another piece of concept and then have a question. And when they ask the students these questions, we find that everybody participates to support that student. So it's a method of bringing this direct process of questioning to everybody in the classroom. And when we do that, we have high-level discussions because the readings have already been done. So leading discussions is just another way of getting the students thinking on the topic.
This is what students said about student-led discussions.
We definitely helped each other out a lot. I remember even during my presentation when I wasn't sure what question to ask, one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, just ask me, I'll answer every question." I was like, "Okay, cool." So it was definitely people willing to help each other out, and then even during the presentations with every question that people were asking, everyone answered instead of just the person asked a question and no one answered. So everyone was actively engaged and shared each other's thoughts and feelings on the content of the class.
So the in-class presentations to me were valued in several ways. Like I mentioned before, not only were the information that I retained from the book and writing down in journals, it was kind of like a recurrent circle that, the information was reiterated over and over again. So by that being said, it's instilled in your head because the information is being repeated over and over again.
The class presentations were valuable because you got to learn from your peers, and it wasn't just like a teacher talking at you. So you're more inclined to listen to people your own age and hear their perspective on it because, you relate to them more.
Interesting to see how everybody got different presentations and showed the class how to learn differently, which I really enjoyed it, instead of just learning the same way every single class period, because some people might not learn a certain way, and then when you're doing the presentation, you fully understand the idea and the concept so much more, and then you get creative in your presentation. Just like when you go out of college, you also have to present in front of people, so it gives you that real-world experience.
The idea of journals is to further increase the inquiry approach. First, for readings that they have, I give them a set of questions to ask and to answer. Some of those questions might be, how do you apply the material? Or what did you find most interesting in the material? Or how is that particular theory one that can be applied to everyday life? Once we come up with these questions, students then read the material and write their journals. And so it goes through a step-by-step process in which everybody's doing the reading, the discussions at a higher level because everyone's done the readings, and they've written about it. They've voiced their opinion in their journal. The last key point to a journal is at the end of each journal, students write down questions to ask the class. So it's just not me, but everybody involved in the process.
The following comments show how journals played an important role in the inquiry process.
Well, doing the journals were really beneficial to me because usually when a teacher says, like, oh, read this, this, and this, you're like, I'll look over the bullet points. But I actually had to read the chapter, and then you put in your own words, so you think about it more. And then he also had us relate to, like, ourselves, so our own personal experience, so you're not just reading all this information with no real-world application.
Okay, so doing the journals were very beneficial. I feel like one thing I learned was that you actually have to read and pay attention to class. You can't just slide through. So I guess that was his way of testing us to see, make sure you're not just here taking this information in, but you're actually using your life with the lessons, which was important to me. It wasn't just like about an exam or a project. It's about, using these techniques and these skills and these, terms and applying it to your life, because communications is ultimately what we do every day. So I think the journal showed me that my everyday life revolved around this, this class or these skills and these terms. I do this every day and I had no idea.
So our class was a community of learners because we would all bounce ideas off of one another. We were able to talk about similar things and similar ideas, experiences that we've had, relate them to the chapter, and then also learn a little bit about every person in the room with their experiences, and then I guess apply that to our own lives and see how we can apply the theories through someone else to our own personal lives.
I would recommend this style of teaching because it gives students a chance to express their opinions and hear the opinions of their peers as well.
I would definitely recommend this style of teaching. I think that there's only positive and good opportunities that come of doing this. It really takes students out of their comfort zone.
I recommend this style of teaching because I think it's both beneficial to the student and the professor, and I feel like I've learned more through this technique.
I would totally recommend this style of teaching. It creates a really safe environment, and it's just way more fun to do.
I recommend this style of teaching because it makes students become more vocal and ultimately gain more knowledge.
As far as the value this class has had on me, I can definitely say that I'm going to have walked out knowing more about myself, having learned more about everybody in the class. The class discussions definitely allow everybody to open themselves up and to be vulnerable. So my suggestion to the incoming class is that you do on that first day, just be open, make yourself vulnerable, take your walls down, just kind of sit back and listen to everybody's stories, and then be willing to share yours, because ultimately that's kind of how you're going to learn, because you're going to take the concepts that you learn in the textbooks and those principles and then apply them to real life situations, and that's really, really going to help you. So enjoy the class.
In summary, my hopes are the following. Students will not remember every concept that you share in the classroom, but if they can become critical thinkers, continuously questioning every interaction they have with others, they're going to learn a lot about communication for the lifetime. It develops lifelong learning when you get students critically questioning everything they do in the communication process. My hopes is that years from now, students will still be asking questions because communication changes over the lifetime.